بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of Kitab al-Sabr wa Shukr from Al-Mahajjat al-Bayda, volume 7, page 197. As you remember, we have been studying a chapter which started on page 192 about an account of how abundant is Allah's blessings and bounties, and he said we will try to refer to only some of the things related to eating. The first point was في نعم الله تعالى في خلق أسباب الإدراك, blessings of Allah in creating those things by which we can perceive. Then the second was الطرف الثاني في أصناف النعم في خلق الإدراكات, that Allah has created in us also desire and dislike and this type of things in addition to understanding. The third, which we want to study tonight, is في نعم الله تعالى في خلق القدرة وآلات الحركة. Allah has also blessed us by creating in us power and means for moving. So if we were able to see, hear, touch, smell, and we had desire and dislike, but we were not able to move, for example, towards our food, then they were not enough. So he says, اعلم أن الحس لا يفيد إلا الإدراك. Senses that we have, they don't benefit except for perception and understanding. والإرادة, the will, the desire also, لا معنى لها إلا الميل إلى الطلب أو الهرب. Because we have also desires and a kind of system for our emotions. So this produces either mail ila talab, inclination towards seeking something, or running away from something which is bad. So, salam alaikum. So we have senses, which was the first point. 2 weeks ago we discussed. We have these desires and dislikes, which we discussed last week. But هذا لا كفاية فيه ما لم تكن فيك آلة الطلب والهرب. These are not sufficient and beneficial if you don't have wasila, instrument for going after something or running away from something. فكم من مريض مشتاق إلى شيء بعيد منه مدرك له لكنه لا يمكنه أن يمشي إليه لفقد رجله. There are many ill people who see there is something good there and they desire that, but because of their weakness, because, for example, their legs are very weak, they cannot move and get what they want. Yeah? You know, when you are healthy, you don't understand how important it is to do things. You know, we take them for granted. But sometimes most simple movements can become either painful or impossible. Yeah? You move your hands, you know, easily, but right now one of our brothers and his wife cannot even move his hands without pain. Joints here, a problem. But we take it for granted. Sometimes it happens that when someone, you know, for example, is dying, cannot even say something. You know, maybe the easiest thing is to talk, even if you cannot move anything, no finger, no hand, you know, at least you can talk. But a time comes that you are not able to say even one word. So we should not take these things for granted. There is such a system in us that helps us in movements. But because everything is going well, you know, you don't appreciate. For example, if cleaners clean your street regularly and you don't see them, you think they don't exist. Yeah? But if there is a strike or there's problem and they don't come, then you see what happens to the streets. Many times we take things for granted, especially salam alaikum, the things that others do for us. For example, as kids, we think, you know, money comes automatically, food comes automatically, and it is only me that I am making efforts by using them. You know, sometimes children even think they do favor if they eat, you know, food. You have to, you know, say, please, you know, come and eat, you know. But how much father, mother are making efforts to prepare these things? So he says, كم من مريض مشتاق إلى شيء بعيد منه مدرك له. So shawq and desire is there. مدرك له can also see and understand. لكنه لا يمكنه أن يمشي إليه, but cannot walk towards it. Wants a cup of water, wants, I don't know, medicine, cannot move. لفقد رجله, either because it has no leg, for example, or لا يمكنه أن يتناوله لفقد يده, or doesn't have a hand, or has, but there is falaj, you know, there is a kind of, yeah, cannot function, or weakness. فلا بد من آلات للحركة. We need instruments for movement. وقدر في تلك الآلات. Also those instruments, which are organs of our body, they should have also power. So you should have hand and leg, but also hand and leg should have power, not just having hand like a stick. لتكون حركتها بمقتضى الشهوة طلبا وبمقتضى الكراهة هربا. So that movements of these organs, when it's out of desire, is seeking something which is good, or it is out of dislike, which is running away. فلذلك خلق الله تعالى لك الأعضاء التي تنظر إلى ظاهرها ولا تعرف أسرارها. And this is why Allah has given us organs that maybe if you look at their surface, you don't understand why we have these fingers, and nails and toes and this type of thing. Maybe you don't understand why. منها ما هو للطلب والهرب. Some of these are for going after something or running away. كالرجل. Feet in human beings is for going towards something or running away. والجناح للطير. Wings for birds, for moving towards what they desire or running away. والقوائم للدواب. Those animals which have like 4 legs and they have this. ومنها. So some of these organs, like feet for us, is for talab or harab. ومنها ما هو للدافع. And sometimes these are for defending yourself. كاليد للإنسان. We use hand sometimes for defense. والقرن للحيوان. And horn in animals for defense. Yeah. Then he says there are lots of differences among animals. For example, and he is very good in explaining some of the wisdom in creation of these things. For example, he says some animals, they have lots of enemies. And their food also can be far. So what do they need? If you have lots of enemies and food might be far. No, in addition to seeing and what organs you need? You need an organ that gives you fast movement. So Allah gives them wings. Yeah? If birds didn't have wings, then they would have been finished by cats and other animals. منها ما يكثر أعداؤه ويبعد غذاؤه. Some animals, they have many enemies, hunters, and their food is far. فيحتاج إلى سرعة الحركة. They need fast movement. فخلق له الجناح ليطير بسرعة. Allah has created for them wing so that they can fly fast. Some animals, Allah has given them 4 legs. Some have 2 feet, or some are crawling. And he says it needs lots of explanation. We focus on those organs that we need just for eating. So we don't talk about wing, we don't talk about leg, which is very important. Without legs, you cannot find food. But let's just focus on eating. Okay? And then by comparison, you can understand how other things are also very sophisticated. So he says, رؤيتك الطعام من بعد وحركتك إليه لا تكفي ما لم تأخذه. Suppose you see food from distance, you see it, you have desire, and you have also feet to go towards it, but still it's not enough. You have to take it. فافتقرت إلى آلة باطشة. You need something that you can take and hold. فأنعم الله عليك بخلق اليدين. Allah has blessed you with giving you 2 hands. Okay? Of course, we use our hands for many things, but right now we are only talking about eating. And these hands are long. You could have, for example, a little hand, 5-10 centimeters here. but was not useful that much. Allah has given us long hands. وَهُمَا طَوِيلَتَانِ فَتُمَدَّانِ إِلَى الْأَشْيَاءِ. You can stretch them toward the things. وَمُشْتَمِلَتَانِ عَلَى مَفَاصِلَ كَثِيرَةٍ. And they have so many joints that give you chance to move them in different directions. Yeah? It's not just right, left, up, down. You can, from 360 degrees and from every, three-dimensional, you can move your hand. Yes? So no chance for any food to escape from you. مشتملتان على مفاصل كثيرة لتتحرك في الجهات. So it can move in, it has many joints so that can move in different directions. So it is not like خشبة منصوبة, it's not like a stick of wood that you cannot bend it, you cannot turn it. Then at the end of your hand, Allah has given you the palm, kaf. جعل رأس اليد عريضا. It is wide. Okay, so if hand was just finishing here, or there were just fingers here, but we didn't have this palm, this wide palm, we couldn't function. Okay? Then قسم رأس الكف بخمسة أقسام هي الأصابع. So he has put this wide part at the end and 5 parts which are our fingers. But جعلها في صفين. Didn't put all these 5 fingers in the same row. 4 together, the other one can come and you can hold. And if our, may Allah inshallah bless Shaykh Qaraati, he was saying that if, for example, you just don't have this. Pardon? Yes. If you don't have your thumb, you want to close your button, you cannot do anything. Yeah? So, if there is injury, so Allah has put these in the way that they can be in the same row, or this can come and help them so that you can hold. We don't think about these things, yeah? Because we have so many useless things to think that we don't think about useful things. بحيث يكون الإبهام thumb في جانب ويدور على الأربعة الباقية, and this can turn and face the other 4. ولو كانت مجتمعة, if they were together, or متراكمة. Sometimes there are some gloves that they don't have finger. You cannot do anything. Yeah, you can just touch, but you cannot, do anything. لم يحصل بها تمام غرضك. If these fingers were together, or the same row, or I just touched, connected, you cannot do all your needs. فَوَزَعَهَا وَزْعًا. Then Allah made these fingers in the way. And basataha. If you open these fingers, it's a very good thing to, if you want to move something, you can open and take lots of things, for example. You can make it like this, and if you want to, for example, drink water or something, you can make it like this and defend yourself or attack. So there are many different ways that we can use our hands. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also given us nails. خَلَقَ لَهَا أَظْفَارًا, and put them at the end of our fingers. Yeah, if these nails were in other places, were going to be broken easily and not useful. So Allah has put them here. So with these nails, you can hold things which are very small. So although our finger is very good, but still there are things that you cannot hold with your finger. You need something sharper. So Allah has given you nails. حتى تلتقط بها الأشياء الدقيقة التي لا تحويها الأصابع. There are things which are very small. دقيق means very small, very minute. Yeah. And you need something that you cannot take with your finger. Then he says, after all these things, suppose أخذت الطعام باليدين. You have taken food with your hand. For example, you have taken now one apple with your hand. But this is not enough. There must be a way to send this to your stomach. من أين يكفيك هذا ما لم يصل إلى المعدة وهي في الباطن. Therefore, we need mouth. Yeah, that we can put this food and goes to the stomach. And then he says, of course, there are lots of hikmah in creation of mouth. It's not just for eating. Mouth is not just for eating. Yeah. Maybe the main thing comes to our mind is eating and drinking, but talking is also very important. Then he says, okay, if you had just mouth and put apple inside our mouth, then we would be suffocated. Or, if you just swallow apple in a large, piece. So Allah has given us teeth. ثم إن وزعت الطعام في الفم وهو قطعة واحدة فلا يتيسر ابتلاعه فتحتاج إلى طاحونة. You need like blender. Yeah. So Allah has made for us our you say jaw? Yeah. So we have two sets. One is fixed, one is flexible. And it's not just flexible in one direction. You can also turn it to right and left. Yeah? So it's not that we just press things like this. We can also do like this. Okay? And also our teeth are three types. Because sometimes we need just to cut. Sometimes we need to break. Sometimes we need to press. So we have teeth for pressing and squeezing. We have teeth for breaking and for cutting. So carefully everything is designed. After this, then he says, in addition to all this, we need now a way to send this food that we have a little processed to the stomach. So we have again here muscles and pipes to send food to a stomach. But this food can be very dry, and it will be difficult to squeeze it or to send it down. So Allah has created in us, in our mouth, ability to produce some chemicals, some liquid to water it and make it easy to swallow, to digest. Actually, digestion starts from mouth. And then he goes into details about what happens in a stomach. That he says a stomach is like a pot. Yeah? And different things that we eat are in that pot, mixed and cooked. And for example, if you have, fruit or bread or whatever, so like a paste or of course more liquid is produced, which is more homogeneous. Everything will be so much mixed and blended. Then he talks about how these will be digested and absorbed and distributed. And this is just about eating. And now blood circulation and I don't know, all the things that have to function in the body. Just for eating, how much Allah has planned in giving us senses, desires, ability to movement. And we just talked about a little bit about hand and teeth and tongue also, which is very important. This tongue sends food to different teeth and so that you can. And it is amazing that all this happens without you being very much in need of thinking about it. Yeah, sometimes we just talk or read something and this is happening. Although it's very sensitive because one mistake can suffocate you or you can, injure your tongue. But everything is happening very smooth. Yes. Yes. So he talks about these in detail and especially about digestion process. And then he says the fourth type of the blessings that we need في نعم الله في الأصول التي منها تحصل الأطعمة. So far we have talked about three aspects. Ability to perceive, our senses and apple. Second, desire and dislike. Third, ability to move and get the food and process the food and digest the food, all this. Number four, to have suitable food. All the food that are in the world for us, suitable for our eating, is great blessings. We have vegetables, we have meat, we have so many things. في نعم الله في الأصول التي منها تحصل الأطعمة وتصير صالحة لأن يصلحها الآدمي بعد ذلك بصنعته. So about those principles that from them food become available and also it's possible for human beings to work on them and process them. اعلم أن الأطعمة كثيرة. There are plenty of food, different types of food. ولله تعالى في خلقها عجائب كثيرة لا تحصى. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in creating food for us has wonders that you cannot exhaust. وأسباب متوالية لا تتناهى. And there are causes one after the other, a chain of causes, so that these food are available for us, that we cannot limit it. وَذِكْرُ ذَلِكَ فِي كُلِّ طَعَامٍ مِمَّا يَطُولُ. And if we want to explain every type of food and how this food is available, just bread, how bread becomes available. If you think about the long process, even they say if you want to have a little soil, it takes, I think, about, if I'm not mistaken, 300 years that 1 inch of soil is produced. Yes. So those who are involved in agriculture, they are very, very sensitive about soil. We think soil is just a cause of dust. Soil is jewelry. Soil is very important. If you live in countries that they don't have good soil, you understand, they import soil, So, for example, if you have a mountain, these, rain should little by little wash these, and, for example, the rocks, then they have to, hit each other, It takes about 300 years, I think, if not more, to have 1 inch of soil. Then to plant the wheat, then becomes I don't know, plant, then you have the ears, then you have to peel it, then you have to take it to mill, bakery, rice. It's not easy. Yeah, eating is the easiest thing. And sometimes if you think about these things, it will be difficult to eat them. Yeah? If you really think about meat, for example, it's very difficult then to eat. If you think about, this rice, but we have to eat to some extent, but we shouldn't have excess. So he says, if you want to talk about this, it would take a long time, and you only have 1 hour per week. So, مما يطول فإن الأطعمة. So he says very briefly, إما أدوية وإما فواكه وإما أغذية. We have 3 types of things that we eat. Some of the things that are in nature are adviya. They are medicine. We have lots of medicine in nature. Of course, we don't know benefits of most of the things. And I went many years ago to Arusha in Tanzania, and one of the brothers said that, for example, the locals, the Africans, they don't know modern medicine. But for example, if someone is for example, a snake bites, for example, someone, they know, for example, this leaf is good for this. they know the benefits of this type of fruits and leaves and herbs. They're very good in this because this is the way they have traditionally learned. We only know that we have to go to pharmacy and take something, but so many things are there that in traditional medicine,
There's a fruit called soursop,
yeah,
which is a damaged
yeah.
that is 10,000 times more powerful than chemotherapy.
Ah.
And it kills a good thing about it.
Yeah.
If you eat, it only kills the cancer cells. It doesn't kill your healthy cells.
Yeah.
And you see, like you said, it's there.
Yeah.
And that's the fruit. It looks very hard from outside, and inside is very soft. I've used that fruit.
Yeah.
It's very good. Very good.
So one type of food is what? Adwiya, medicine. Another type is fawakeh, fruits.
Yeah.
Another is aghdhiya, food. Okay? And then he says, okay, we only talk about the last one. We don't talk about medicine and fruits. Okay? Then aghdhiya has lots of branches. He said, let's just talk about wheat.
Yeah.
Gandum, we say in Farsi. Qamh. So three types of food. We don't talk about two of them. We only talk about aghdhiya, which can be like meal food. And only we focus on wheat. He says, إذا وجدت حبة أو حبات. If you find one or more, we can say seeds of seeds of wheat or grains of wheat. فلو أكلتها فنيت وبقيت جائعا. He says, if these grains were there and we would have eaten them, they would finish and we become hungry, or our hunger is not over. فما أحوجك إلى أن تنمو الحبة في نفسها وتزيد وتتضاعف. So we have great need for these seeds to grow and reproduce themselves. كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة. Imagine if every grain was only producing one grain. What disaster could be to have, farming. But one becomes 700, for example, more or less depending on types, brand. Pardon? Yes. No bread. No bread. So those types of plants that are very useful for us, Allah has made them in the way that they can reproduce with a very high rate. Yeah? With very high rate. فما أحوجك إلى أن تنمو الحبة في نفسها وتزيد وتتضاعف, to multiply itself. حتى تفي بجميع حاجتك, so that it would be sufficient to meet all your need. فخلق الله تعالى في حبة الحنطة من القوى ما تقتضي به كما خلق فيك. Allah has put in this grain of wheat some ability that, like you can eat and produce energy, that can eat, take air and whatever, and grow and reproduce itself. He says, إن النبات إنما يفارقك في الحس والحركة ولا يفارقك في الاقتدار. These plants are not like you in having ihsas or haraka, as we said last week. Yeah, they don't have sensation and movement, but they are similar to you in iqtida, in taking food and absorbing their food. Yeah. لأنه يغتذي بالماء ويجتذب إلى باطنه بواسطة العروق. Takes through the roots from water all the chemicals that they need, and then they have a system for distribution to all over the plant. Like you. Your body does this, their body also does this. And he says, we don't want to talk a lot about how they absorb these things. In science, you learn how, for example, they do this. Then he says, كما أن الخشب والتراب لا يغذيك بل تحتاج إلى طعام مخصوص فكذلك الحبة لا تغتذي بكل شيء بل تحتاج إلى شيء مخصوص. In the same way that you cannot eat everything, for example, you cannot eat wood. Yes? They also cannot absorb everything. So they have ability to absorb, but they need a special food. بدليل أنك لو تركتها في البيت لم تزد لأنه لم يحط به إلا الهواء. For example, if you grow them in home, there is air, but air is not enough. They need more than air. مجرد الهواء لا يصلح لقضائها. Only air is not enough. ولو تركتها في الماء لم تزد. And if you put it in water, also they don't grow. ولو تركتها في أرض لا ماء فيها. If you put it in the soil but there is no water, no. So if you put it in water, no benefit. If you put it in soil without water, no benefit. If you just give the air, no benefit. بل لا بد من أرض فيها ماء يمتزج ماؤها بالأرض فيصير طينا. What you need is to put it in a soil that water mixes with the soil and produces tin, like clay. And he says maybe this is the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ أَنَّا صَبَبْنَا الْمَاءَ صَبًّا. Man should look carefully at his food. We send water down ثُمَّ شَقَقْنَا الْأَرْضَ شَقًّا. Then we open some space in the earth so that this water can penetrate. ثم لا يكفي الماء والتراب إذ لو تركت في أرض ندية صلبة متراكمة لم تنبت. If we had soil and water, but still was not enough. It has to be soft. Okay? If it was very solid and hard, it was not working. Then he says also air sometimes is not enough. So we need wind so that fresh air is coming. Because this cannot go outside, and move. And so wind is good for distribution of oxygen. And he says maybe this is why Allah says وَأَرْسَلْنَا الرِّيَاحَ اللَّوَاقِحَ. Also for fertilization. Yes, this wind is helping for that also. So he says for fertilization we need air, water, and soil. Then he says, in addition to all this, you need also right temperature. If it was always hot summer or cold winter, they couldn't grow. فقد بان احتياج غذائه إلى هذه الأربعة. So just your wheat to grow needs air, water, soil, and right temperature, which is through seasons. فانظر إلى ماذا يحتاج كل واحد. Now, after this, think about just for having water. What system must be there? And then, all about, rivers and, evaporation and, wind, all these things, clouds and rain. For air, how air has to be produced. For soil, for everything, then you have to think. You have a question? فانظر إلى ماذا يحتاج كل واحد إذ يحتاج الماء. For example, water لينصاغ إلى أرض الزراعة. Water, in order to come to the land for farming, needs بحار, we need seas, عيون, springs, أنهار, rivers, سواقي, small branches of rivers, channels. And then look at the way Allah has created seas and springs and rivers. Then the land sometimes is very high. So you cannot send water high because, especially in the past, they didn't have electricity and pumps, whatever. So Allah sends water from the top. If we had only rivers and seas and spring, but no rain, still we had problem. فانظر كيف خلق الغيوم. Look carefully how Allah created cloud. وكيف سلط الرياح عليها لتسوقها بإذنه إلى أقطار العالم. He created clouds and then he created wind to take these clouds to everywhere in the world according to his will. Then look how Allah sends a lot rain in a spring when it is the right time that we need for farming, and in fall. على حسب الحاجة. Also consider, we are just talking about water a little bit. كيف خلق الجبال حافظة للمياه. How Allah made mountains as reserves for water. If these mountains were not there, everything was coming and finishing. But when it goes to mountains, then it can remain as ice, for example, and throughout the year we benefit, or goes inside and then we have springs. And so these mountains are very important. تنفجر منها العيون تدريجا. These springs gradually bring this water throughout the year. لو خرجت دفعة لغرقت البلاد. If all this rain and snow that comes on mountains were coming on the plains, they will all drown. If all of a sudden it come. وَحَلَكَ الزَّرْعُ وَالْمَوَاشِي. All the farms and animals would have been destroyed. وَنِعَمُ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى فِي الْجِبَالِ وَالسَّحَابِ وَالْبِحَارِ وَالْأَمْطَارِ لا يمكن إحصاؤها. Now, if you want to make a list of all the blessings in mountains, in rivers, in rain, yeah, I was amazed that how much he thought and how much he was aware of these things. And then he says about temperature. He says, إنها لا تحصل بين الماء والأرض. Temperature cannot be produced between water and soil because both of them are cold. كلاهما باردان فانظر كيف سخر الشمس وكيف خلقها مع بعدها عن الأرض مسخنة للأرض في وقت دون وقت. So Allah has made earth and sun in the way that we get enough energy, but not all the time so that it would burn us. We have day and night, we have seasons, so much planning. Yeah? ليحصل البرد عند الحاجة إلى البر والحر عند الحاجة إلى الحر. When we need cold weather, we have cold weather. It's not like this room that sometimes we need cold weather, it's hot, and sometimes okay. Allah has better design. والحر عند الحاجة إلى الحر. فهذه إحدى حكم الشمس. This is one of the wisdom in creation of sun. Sun is not just to give us temperature. Lots of other things. You know, for example, vitamin D. It seems that other than sunlight, nothing else can produce, yeah? This is what I was told. Yes. But how they get it? Artificial, but they also benefit from nature. They benefit from.
If there was no artificial vitamin D, I would be like.
Yes. So lots of other things are there, energy and other things, and
Sun is 10 times bigger than
much bigger,
10 times.
much bigger.
10 times.
Then ثم النبات إذا ارتفع عن الأرض كان في الفواكه انعقاد وصلابة فتفتقر إلى رطوبة تنضجها فانظر كيف خلق القمر وجعل من خاصيته الترطيب. He says fruits when they are in taller trees. Okay, so to get enough of water, not only they need water from inside, but also they get humidity from
Atmosphere.
yeah. So with the help of moon, then in the night they have this.
In the night they slide the water.
Yes. فانظر كيف خلق القمر وجعل من خاصيته الترطيب. Moon, according to him, he says moon produces humidity. Not, of course, directly in the sense that maybe the gravity of it causes, humidity. But sun produces heat, taskin. I don't know, scientifically is it correct today or no? About the impact of moon for having humidity in the night. Maybe we need to discuss it. Pardon? Yeah.
That's why that we get lots of cold sometimes.
So maybe that's a little light that the moon is shining, yeah? That light helps. Pardon?
It affects the tide, high tide, low tide.
Okay, so he is correct. Yes, he has studied well. Pardon? So this cooperation between sun and moon, ينضج الفواكه, makes fruits ripe and also color, proper color. And then he says, لو كانت الأشجار في ظل يمنع شروق الشمس والقمر والكواكب عليها لكانت فاسدة ناقصة. If trees were always in shadow, they would have been corrupt and they would not be able to grow. He says, for example, if you have a small tree always shadowed by a longer, cannot grow. Then he talks about the stars, impact of the stars, and it takes again few pages. Just as a kind of conclusion, our time is over. What he wants to help us appreciate is the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When, for example, we were talking about if you count blessings of Allah, you cannot, make a list. We were maybe counting just those very last things that we appreciate and understand. For example, health or food. But now you see there is a whole system behind everything. And he says what we know compared to what we don't know is a lot. He says what we know, we are not able to mention here. But what we don't know is much more than what we know. So it's good that we think about these things and admit that we are not able to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough. But those who have more knowledge, those who know all these things, like scientists, they are expected to be more grateful. And one of the benefits of science is this, that you can be more grateful. Unfortunately, some people learn these things and then they think we don't need God. But as you know, science can explain only how and not why. Why is understood in philosophy and theology. So if you know how, it should just help you to appreciate more what Allah is doing. Not that you say, because I know this. It's like, for example, if you know how this food is prepared. You say, for example, father gave money and purchased meat, and my mother, for example, cooked. You know how, but this doesn't mean that it has happened by itself. Who created meat? Who created water? Who created your father and mother? So how is not enough. And then this is only about one of those blessings. We said there are 16 branches. One of them was dunya, and in dunya, one branch was akl. How much we are benefiting from blessings of Allah. May Allah, inshallah, include us among the people who are very grateful. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.